Welcome to our very first roundtable discussion. I'm Andrew Jones here in the Shartin Clubhouse. I'm joined by Caris Teeton, Lyle Hewitson and Vincent Ho. Welcome, gentlemen. We've got a lot to get through. We've got a fair while to get through it as well. I thought we'd start off with a little bit of background about you guys, because you're all from quite different upbringings and how you got into racing as well. Caris, you kick off. Mauritian born, and South African Jockey Academy is how you came through.
Of course, born and raised in Mauritius. Everything started there. You know, everything in Mauritius is about horse racing. We don't.
Do you consider yourself Mauritian rather than South African?
Yeah, pure
right.
Mauritian.
Okay, get that out of the way first.
Yeah, we don't have any other sports, so the main focus on the island is just horse racing. So, but since a young age, my focus was always been into being a jockey and ride horses. And I wanted to, of course, develop myself into a jockey one day and get better. So I thought the only way I could do that is to travel, because staying in Mauritius will take me nowhere. So took my chance and went to the South African Jockey Academy, and yeah, everything was history. Didn't
you think of any other, like, I'm sure football's quite big, or, I mean, you're speedy, aren't you? You keep winning the jockey sprint every year. You not think about athletics? Something would have been easier than getting on back, because you didn't have any riding experience, did you?
You took it easy way out this
year.
Yeah,
exactly.
It didn't take part in
Don't talk about soccer, because I've been playing soccer with Joe and the team here. I'm very fast with the ball, but when I get to score the goal, I completely missed it. So after 2 years, I retired from the soccer. I think the horse racing was just my main focus.
You didn't go to the academy though straight away, Lyle. You came from a racing family, so a bit different to Caris. Yeah. But you're always. I've read something actually. You played polo cross or something, or is that something?
Yeah, so I finished my matric at Kersney College, but like you said, I grew up in a horse racing family. From about the age of 8 and upwards, I was always going to races. Caris actually used to ride for the stable my dad worked at. So I used to go to races.
He used to do my kit.
Yeah,
he used to play my boots.
Any good?
Just bring it down.
So never fired him.
Never fired him because I wasn't paying him.
Yeah, but I got my first saddle from Caris too. And yeah, so I used to go to races a lot at Fairview and Arlington, and always loved the sport, of course. And the only concern was if I was going to make it in terms of my weight. But going through school, I took part in amateur races. So from about the age of 15, I used to fly to different parts of the country to ride in this one race that happened maybe every 2 weeks. And you know, the bug bit, and I wanted to.
Is that the work riders races?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
So I started riding work probably about the age of 11, but you have to be a bit older to ride in the races. And yeah, once I started taking part in those, there was just no looking back for me, and I made sure that I could get my weight on track. And you know, despite doing well at school in academics and sport, I didn't apply for varsities. I had my mind set on exactly what I wanted to do. And as I finished my matric in 2015, I applied for the academy, and as Caris said, there was no looking back thereafter.
Did your dad try and, was he, I'm sure he was supportive, but he tried to, because he was a jockey, a very successful one, did he try and talk you out of it, or was he always?
No, my dad, he was behind me, you know, the whole way. My mum was more concerned. Obviously, she had seen what my dad had gone through with his weight and that, and she was worried. So she said to me, please just finish your school first and then decide on your options. You know, she's more than happy for me to ride, but there's one thing she wants, and that's to finish my matric. But I wouldn't have changed the way things went, you know. At the time, I was distraught. All I wanted to do was get to the academy and ride. But yeah, the way things have mapped out, it was for the better.
Is that common as well in South Africa for jockeys to come through the work riders races?
Not necessarily common,
not really.
But there's a handful of jockeys that have done it and done really well, you know. Gavin Arena was pretty much of the same sort of thing. In my time, there were 3 apprentices, Diego de Gouveia, Serena Moody and myself, that all in the same year, that all went through the work riders just by chance. So I think it's developing a bit more because it allows people to sort of really find if they've got a passion for the sport. You know, they start work riding and participate in a race and find out if it is really what they want to do. And thereafter, they can apply for the academy because they do take post-matric. So that option is open, and I think it's a good one.
What about you, Vincent, through the Jockey Academy here? But what was your family life like, and what sort of got you into racing in the first place?
Grew up in Hong Kong. It's quite difficult to see horses when you're a kid. So it's quite different. My family have nothing to do with horse racing or anything with horses. My dad was like a computer side person, and my mom is just a normal office lady, used to be, housewife now.
Did they ever come to the races at all? Though? Like
No,
maybe
not
earlier?
really.
No.
Not really. Even my dad never really come into races when I'm racing. But yeah, I start off riding, like show jumping and that when I was around 13, 14, just by chance was here a summer course, you know, try to find an activity to do in the summer between school holiday. And once I jumped on it, I just loved it. And then I've been doing it for 2.5, 3 years. And I saw the apprentice school for jockeys, and I thought, oh, why not try it when I was 17. And I got into the interview, and I was over the limit of the height.
Really?
Yeah, and very lucky Amy still approved and got me.
You just scrunched down a little bit.
I try, but can't. Weight was okay at that time, but of course, because I'm a bit taller and I just get heavier.
Still good if you can ride 116. I mean,
Yeah,
can't
at the
complain with
moment,
that.
I used to, well, when I first came back to Hong Kong, I only can ride 112, which
Only?
they actually require 103.
Wow.
So
As an
I'm
apprentice.
like,
As an
yeah, and I'm way above the limit. But
It worked
it's
out all
just lucky, yeah, they're happy for me to come back here. And
Was that when you were riding the ponies, then doing the show jumping? Was that the thing you thought, if I can, I mean, becoming a professional show jumper is a little bit different. You think I can
know,
actually do this. I can
yeah,
still ride horses. And
when I was doing that, I thought about maybe I can be a, like show jumping athlete, but it costs a lot. Like you have to get a good horses, and you need to train in Europe, like all year round.
yeah.
There's no chance to be in Hong Kong to be successful.
Well, the great thing about racing is someone else buys the horses.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you just ride them.
And the club actually, like horse racing is a big thing in Hong Kong, and they have lots of resources here, even to like train young kids like us. So the only way I like to do what I like to do and to be a career is, I think, is to be a jockey.
Yeah.
So I tried.
It's pretty interesting to just hear, like, for Vincent, you know, he had no access to horses when he was young. Like for us, like for me, it was easy. Mauritius and Lyle, you know, his family's into racing, and like we ride with him, and we just see how much passion he has for horses. And you know, it's not like he's grew up not seeing horses, and now
And it becomes
just
such a
to see him like how like you look at him on a horse, you would think, hey, he's grown up with horses,
Yeah,
you know.
for sure.
So it's just unbelievable story,
Yeah.
like.
There's some great riding schools here in Hong Kong, but space is obviously limited, so it's hard for everyone
Yeah.
to get on board. On that front, actually, about, I mean, you obviously take this, or we take it to another level now. You went out to see Monty Roberts recently do all that horse training. How much can you use that on a day-to-day basis, though? Because Monty Roberts will spend how long with a horse, training it, working out his traits. You get on the back of a horse in the parade ring, you've got how long before you get down to the start? I mean, how much difference, and how do you use that training that you've got then in a practical race-to-race day?
In the theory side, it's very similar, to be honest. It's very similar to like train a dog. If you have a dog, it's when you want him to walk next to you and not pulling, and it's all about you and the horse. Is about trust, right? And with another animal is the same. They can't lie, which is great, and it's a reaction, and it's about how you build a trust in a short period of time. And show jumping side, for your question, it definitely help as well when we're on a horse, because Mr. Roberts, we do join ups and that, and it's for like, at that point it's more like breaking in horses. So when you catch a wild horse, how can you just gain the trust in few minutes of time. And that's a big difference because horses here is already been ridden and
you're trying to
maybe
break
not
habits
ridden.
they've already developed.
Yeah,
over.
so it's another knowledge that I have now, but when I'm on a horse, probably use another sort of theory.
Look, I agree with what you're saying, but I think also, you know, once you've done something like that, it's a sort of confidence with the relationship with the horse. So the moment you get on, I mean, a horse is going out to perform. Obviously, they get nervous and they sweat up. So if you're getting their heart rate down just because you're relaxed and confident with the horse, you're going to get more out of them. So, yeah, I think, I mean, subconsciously, it will have played a big role just in terms of your career.
Yeah.
Feel free to dig in as well, boys. Croissants.
Yeah, thank you.
You don't
I'll go
you
with the
want-
first.
go for
No,
the
you can take the first one. Yeah, I'm sure you will. Thank you.
You have one already.
I'll give you some fruits.
You have one already.
Let's talk about inspirations, you know, heroes for want of better words, the good horses, the good jockeys, the good races. Who was it, Karis, when you were, as an apprentice, you're looking up to?
Well, of course, once I was in the academy, as you guys know, in South Africa, in the past has produced so many champion jockeys and so many good jockeys has even come here, like name like Felix Coetzee, Del Pesh, Kevin Shea, Anton Marcus. They are all top jockeys, and of course they were the guys that we used to look up to, being in the academy, and they would always be like talking to us. But just for me, you know, when I first went to the academy, I still remember walking into the academy with about a few guys, and the first video they show us is Silent Witness winning the sprint with Felix on, and he was just stepping in with his white gloves. And I was still thinking, oh, one day I wish I could, you know, be there and do similar things. So I think when you look at guys like big names like them, and you try to work and get your focus in a way to be one day like that, I think you can do it.
I think it was Kevin Shea. This could be very embarrassing. It wasn't. It was probably embarrassing anyway. But the trackside team in South Africa did a video on him, a stories, all this sort of stuff. And I'm sure it was him.
Yes, it's him. I'm sure. I know.
The tattoo he's got a Man United.
He's got a Man United
tattoo on his backside. Yeah. The logo.
Yeah, he's got a Man United. Yeah. But Kevin Shea has always been fun.
He's a bit of a character then.
The one day, did you see the other interview he had?
With his 2 rides left?
Yeah, so he says he has, I think he had 1 ride. He comes it's a long drive to Scottsville. He wins like a group 2 or something. So they ask him, so how many rides you got left? He's like, I got 2 rides left. 1 ride on my way home, it's my car, and 1 ride at home with my wife. I think the rides home will be easier.
This was live?
That was live.
Yeah, he says the ride home will last a bit longer.
That's Kevin Shea. I think you know him. Yeah, he's pretty funny. But he's pretty cool.
What about for you, Lyle? Who are you? Because you broke a record. You broke Michael Roberts' record, didn't you, as an apprentice?
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, he was a giant.
Yeah, Michael Roberts. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, not a giant like giant, but yeah, a short giant, but.
Okay. Yes. So Gavin Arena ended up breaking his record in his apprenticeship. When I started, the record in the 5-year apprenticeship was 285 winners, and with prior experience from having ridden Work Riders race and that, I did a 3-year apprenticeship, and I think I ended up riding 470 winners or so in my 3 years, or 460, something like that. Yeah, so obviously that was massive, and you know, as any jockey in South Africa, if you're looking up to locals, someone like Mace Roberts, of course, what he's done to go win so many titles over in the UK and back home, it's just amazing. And but for a more personal reason, I've always looked up to Anthony Del Pesh. I was at school with his son Damon. We were good friends during school, and used to go back to his place on the weekends. And whenever Anthony would get on the equisizer in his gym before races, I would just go sit in the corner of the gym and just watch, and admire his style and his ethic and everything that he put into it. So he was always someone I aspired to be like. Obviously, he's a decorated jockey, and he's an ultimate professional. So definitely been an inspiration in my career. And yeah, it's I learned a lot from him as well. You know, The first time I rode work in Port Elizabeth when I was young, but the first time I rode work in Durban, when I was at school there, I went to work with Anthony to watch work because I actually had a broken wrist at the time. I was in a cast. And Anthony said, like, how's your wrist feeling? I said, no, it's pretty good. He says, do you want to take one for Mike de Kock? And I thought he was joking. He said, no, you can take this for you. And she ended up being the champion mare that year, Europa Point. So the first horse I worked in Durban, I still had a cast on my hand, and I was working 600 meters up the beach. So yeah, Anthony's been great, and there's a lot of people that influence your career, but he's been an important one to me.
Yeah. And he's done very well here too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's amazing how
rain and those also,
the South African jockeys have,
the influence.
They've all, succeeded.
I think through that, like we spoke earlier on, through that 5 years in the Jockey Academy, they just teach you so much, and so I think it's growing and getting better.
Not just the riding, then it's everything else that goes with
it.
Everything else.
Yeah.
First, once you get there in your first year, you sort of get a horse or two that you need to be in charge of it. First, get
they
the trust
of
the horse.
First,
they don't just put you on a horse and go ride a horse. They first teach you how to work properly with a horse. Then, when you're ready, get on a horse.
Did you have any concept, Vincent, of the greater racing world when you first started? Then it was just what was happening in Hong Kong. Did you were aware of the history in the UK and in Europe and racing in Australia?
Idea.
No.
I didn't have an idea. My dad told me, that's Frankie Dettori. He's a good jockey. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it. And,
copy him.
And yeah, because since I was around 16, 17, I started watch a bit of racing. I used to think it's boring. Like my dad will watch races on Sunday, and me and my mom will go out because it's too boring. Wait half an hour and watch for 1 minute. I said no, not for me. But yeah, I'm doing it now. But my dad told me because there's some international races as well, some in December and HKJC before as well. So I'll watch those races, and when I first started, Sumion is riding here, and it's doing very well as well. And yeah, it's one of the guys I look up to when I first started, and then when I start my apprenticeship and I start racing here, then of course it's all the Frankie, Ryan Moore. Yeah,
it's got to be pretty intimidating then if you're an apprentice going into a Hong Kong weighing room.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when you come, but you've been riding overseas and stuff, riding whether
it's not intimidating, but it's exciting to see those guys. Like it's your idol. And you can just watch them in a jockey's room. I'll check all their gears, how nice it is. It's
4 years ago, I was just reading books like Frankie's autobiography and that, and 4 years later, I'll be riding with him. So yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. It's crazy to think that we go through that.
True, yeah.
Do you, when you're looking at that as well, when you're starting out, do you think, oh yeah, I want to be like them, I want to ride like them? Because it seems everyone ends up with their own little individual style.
Sure. So you definitely do. I mean,
you try copy a few things a few jockeys do.
When you start off, I think you do try and mold on someone's style, and then you sort of get a feel for what you're comfortable with, and then that becomes your style. I think it's probably an important aspect when you go and you look and you say, I really like his seat and how he uses the stick and how he pushes, and then you put that together. And
I think it's more how you need to feel comfortable. You need to be able to. You want to try be like someone, and when that's their style, they feel good about it. So you need to make sure you are feeling at your best and comfortable.
Yeah.
Do you all ride with your toe in the iron or your full foot in?
I'm toe.
Toe.
Yeah. Toe as well.
I hate the whole foot in.
Cannot.
It's the worst. Sometimes when you're in the gate, you make sure you're in the toe, and sometimes, a horse jumps sideways, so it like slip your whole foot in.
Oh, it's so uncomfortable.
You're like the whole like 200 meter, you try to fix it.
When you're on the toe, you're literally just on the side of the...
Just the big toe.
Yeah.
Just your big toe actually that put pressure on the lower stirrup. Yeah.
And that's all about balance. If you put your full foot in, it just upsets your balance. You're all...
Well, I can't say it upsets your balance because some people...
Well, Gerald must say he like whole foot in.
Straydom.
Straydom
Straydom rides full foot, and he's one of the most balanced riders.
So they feel comfortable, but I think most of the jockeys ride with just their toes in. Yeah.
It's become more popular
Yeah.
as time goes on. You know.
Yeah.
I think it looks better too, to be honest.
All about the style.
Yeah,
How-
because what it used to be like when you first started, you were apprentice, whole foot in. And if you become a jockey and then you still have the whole foot, it's like, oh, this guy, you look like an apprentice. So.
But style has changed over. Like if you look at old videos of the champion jockeys, go back to the 70s and earlier than that.
Yeah.
The way jockeys look on a horse now.
Yeah.
I mean, they look better, more stylish, aren't they? So
Yeah.
that in itself
Yeah,
has
of course.
developed over time.
Yeah.
It's not to say they weren't effective and they weren't very good, but the style has
No,
definitely.
but even now, I mean, even those top jockeys, they all change their style
Adapt.
by time, When you see Frankie early days and now, it's a bit different. When you see Simeon and now, it's also different. So.
But just there's so many facilities, like mentioned, the equisazes. You could just go on. It's like Frankie say, he rides the equisazes all the time. So I'm pretty sure he's on there trying to fix a few little things he needs to do. So.
I heard like Craig Williams was a massive advocate for like exercise. He used to work on that every day,
But I heard a story about Craig Williams. Somebody said before he used to sit really short. Not short, but he used to sit short. And then suddenly he was like, he wants to just... And now Craig, he sits all the way down. Like he really sits long. And he just gets behind them. So it's interesting how he changed his style and how much better he's riding, like how good he is now.
Yeah. Because you sometimes see you guys messing around with your stirrups when you walk around the paddock. Do you change it for certain horses, how they feel?
It'll probably
do
be
you
like a hole or
Yeah,
up
normally,
or down.
of course, the lead
Some of the
bag,
American
yeah.
jockeys ride longer on the inside, don't they, and shorter
Yeah.
because they're always going on the
Yeah.
turn. Do you do that as well or not?
I don't.
No, I keep it
I never-
level here.
Keep it level.
But sometimes, if you're running big weight and the lead bag is under the saddle and maybe it's picking up a little bit, so even if it's all the same hole and level, but you still feel unbalanced, so you just need to drop one hole or make sure it's balanced. Yeah.
Also, like if the saddle's a little bit further up the wither,
Mm.
I mean, you feel like you're sitting too short because you're quite high up, so you drop it, and then if the saddle's far back, sometimes can pick it up. I don't know, depending on the size of the horse and everything, you just want to find that comfort zone, really.
How does that feel when the saddle starts to slip or something in a race where it's
Oh
going
my
backwards?
God. It's terrible.
It's the worst. It's okay if you can get your foot out, then you still got balance on a horse. But if you have your foot in and you're slipping back, I think that's scary. Or if it slips sideways.
Sideways
Sideways are the worst.
It's the worst.
So what do you do? Kick your feet out and just try and...
I try to adjust it. If it stay in the middle, then I'll try not move around too much. Just stay there.
I think if it slip back, you just need to try sit still.
Yeah.
I think if you do too much movement, it could just slip.
Yeah, because obviously they're going to get...
Because once it slip, it just goes. So.
But when it goes back as well, if you're riding there, your hands and they suddenly realise the withers get further and further away.
Then you just need to stretch it. Stretch your arm.
But the amount of times I've seen jockeys, the saddle's glowing, but you still try and ride some sort of finish. The adrenaline kicks in and you think, I've got a chance of running third or fourth, I'm just going to keep kicking.
Sure.
A few times I've come back, my saddle is completely on the hind quarter of the horse. But then you only realize like...
Sometimes it only happens at last like 50 meters and you're already in full flow, and only once you like that go past the line you realize how much it's moved, So I've had it in the finish before when the saddle's gone over the side, but under the adrenaline that my one foot came out the iron and my knees were just squeezed together and I didn't even know. So.
But a few times it happened also when a horse jumping out of the gate and the saddle do slip. But sometimes you got a good horse, you're running a good horse, and the saddle slip this much. You don't want just to give up. You want to at least try and do your best. You don't just want to put your hand down or try to pull the horse out of the race.
Well, speaking of good horses, let's talk about good horses then, Lyle. What are some of the best you've ridden? Or best you've ridden against the races you've been in as well?
The best filly I've ridden, I'd say Celtic Sea. She was amazing. She won me 2 Group 1s last season and then ran 2 Group 1 seconds against the Colts, so she was really top class and won the 1200 in I think it was 66.9 seconds. It was crazy. And then she won a mile in the next start, Group 1 as well. So yeah, she was brilliant. In terms of Colts and Geldings, probably I'd say the best I've ridden would be Undercover Agent. He's won I think 2 Group 1s now. He was my first Group 1 winner as well, so he's a pretty special horse. But I've been fortunate to get my leg over a couple of real good horses, and some maybe not even have reached their potential yet, National Park and the likes. But it'll be good to get one that gets on the national stage and can be serious like a champion racehorse. That'll be awesome.
And you just know when you get on them to a certain extent?
Yeah, you do. Obviously, you want them to perform, so they have the credentials, you know. Sometimes it's what you say hasn't been reflected yet and you're not sure about your judgment, but when you get on, you do kind of, you get from the moment they walk onto the track in Cantorf, you just know. You get that feel that it's all class. And
I heard Tom Quealy talking about Franklin. He said it was the difference between just getting in a normal car and getting in a high-powered sport car. So you don't have to go that quick to know that there's something under the pedal.
Sometimes
like feel the action of them.
Yeah, some of the best horses don't even work that well necessarily. They're just so smooth and natural.
But just sitting on them sometimes, you feel so. Yeah. You just feel the confidence. They just give you that confidence.
You fit in them like a Harley.
Even talking about that, even that horse of John Moore, Athero. So I've only sat on him twice. So I've trialed him once. Of course, you know,
though.
In the trial.
Trial and a race.
In the trial, of course, you have the big saddle and the sponge, and you don't really get so close with them. And race day, of course, it was 113. So I have this, you know, medium little saddle.
Yeah, medium
saddle.
Like this,
medium.
And as they put me on him, wow, it was just that feel, like I could just feel him, like that whole power underneath me. I was like, oh my God, I could not wait to just go out and let him run. It was, you know, they just give
that
you
confidence.
good, they give you that confidence. You could just let them.
Sometimes they do just like blow up on a race day. You get on them from work and races, and they're just like a whole different animal. They get so pumped up, and they know what their job is. The good ones.
Game face. How about Rise High, Vincent? That must have been pretty special. Rolling Beauty generation. Did you think you had him? Sort of. Well, I suppose when you ran past him, you did, but.
Well, I'm not surprised. He wasn't that fit yet, but I wasn't too surprised to beat him because I know the weight's different, the handicaps, and I think Beauty generation only have 2 weeks break that run when I got beat.
Yeah.
So, in my mind, I thought I should have a chance. I'm happy that Rise High did well from last season, of course. When he first came, I rode him work. He didn't feel that solid, and he didn't give me the feel of a Group 1 horse yet at that time. But this couple of seasons, he
matured.
He's really matured, and you know he come along really well.
So with something like that, whether it's any race, a big race, I suppose, more than just a normal race, if you like. But had you sat down with Casper prior to that, or the instructions? You see them in the paddock before the race. Is that when you get the instructions? Yeah. We already had a chat. You've already spoken to Casper that this is what we're going to do. Just those few minutes.
Just those few minutes before, and. Yeah, he's quite a straightforward horse.
I think you'd have an idea, though.
You know. I think if you ride, and you know, like Vincent ride the horse most of the time, and you trial him, I think Casper knows also Vincent knows the horse. So there's not much to say. He just
Casper's a pretty confident guy as well. Was he like?
He know very well that jockeys need the confidence to be on the horse, so he will give me confidence as well.